Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome. Today we are going to talk about this feeling that people often complain about when they are in a relationship. They say, you know what, I don't feel validated, I don't feel appreciated in my relationship with my spouse or with my significant other. And one of the key reasons for this kind of feeling stems from a deep need to 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 help. Okay, it stems from a deep need to help, to feel useful. And I recall whenever my father would say, to us, go and fetch my shoes or bring the remote, you know, then we would run, myself and my siblings, we compete with each other to get the shoes, or, you know, earlier days before the remote was invented, you used to be the remote, right? Your parents would send you up and down to change the channel, and you just happily do it because you'd feel like, you know what, you feel validated, you feel useful, you feel helpful, and that is an instinct that doesn't really go away. I mean, it just clothes itself in various ways. It sort of gets masked through various situations in life, but the feeling or the need to be validated does not go away. And one way in which you get that validation from your spouse is to be helpful, to be giving to your spouse, and then also to be accepting, because there's the other aspect of validation, which is that as much as you want your spouse or your significant other to feel helped by you, to feel like you are asset in their lives, that you are indispensable in a way, so too you have to acknowledge that your spouse also wants to feel that he or she is an asset, that you need to be open to receiving what they have to give you also. So there's that aspect too. And so, as much as some people like giving and they want to give and give and give, and they sort of give so much of themselves, and they give so much to their significant other, that they don't allow the other person to properly exist in the relationship, because they don't allow the other person to also give. And so what you need to do is you need to balance the giving and taking in the relationship. So both can't be takers and both can't be givers all the time. You need to balance between taking and giving. And the way relationships work best is if there is mutual benefit, mutual cooperation in the relationship. So cooperate on joint tasks and give and take in the process, and help one another in fulfilling each other's independent ambitions, and give and take in the process. So it's very important to have a bit of both, be a giver, also be a taker. Some people have a problem with accepting. They want to give. They're very helpful and they're very giving, but they don't like accepting because they feel like accepting will compromise their independence. And that also stifles a relationship. It stifles a relationship because the very reason you are in a relationship is so that you don't have to be entirely independent, so that you have someone dependable that you can depend on for certain things. You can still retain some level of independence, but you can't entirely be independent. And also, independence is a fallacy. No one is really independent in the real sense of the word. We are all interdependent. The most wealthiest person will not be able to achieve anything with his wealth were it not for all the people around him that do his bidding on account of this wealth, for example. You know, so interdependence is the greater acknowledgement. Actually, the higher form of existence is to acknowledge interdependence as opposed to trying to be independent. Trying to be independent in a theological sense is akin to associating partners with God, because God is truly the alone independent, because God doesn't depend on anything or anyone, but everything and everyone depends on God. So there is that godlike complex of wanting to be independent, which is unobtainable, unachievable. We try to work towards greater independence. I suppose more really has to do with working your way up a hierarchy and having therefore more at your disposal, but that doesn't really make you independent. So think about those things, guys, in relationships. Again, it is about the better relationships are the ones that have the greatest mutual benefit in them for the parties involved, and where people are comfortable with both giving and receiving, and they take turns to do both. Thank you very much.